Hollywood in 1969, where hippies were running around saying that everyone was fascist, everyone was getting either high or stoned, and everyone was complaining how hot it is. As opposed to today, when there are a bunch of hippies running around telling that everybody's either a racist or a fascist, everybody's either high or stoned, and everyone's complaining about how hot it is. California really hasn't changed that much, has it? Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Cam, and welcome to my review for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This movie was directed by Quentin Tarantino, we all know who he is, and this movie stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, and that's literally just to name a few. Pretty much the cast list on IMDb reads like a who's who of current superstars and former superstars. I'll put it in the side because it's quite intense. This movie really has a bunch of stories going on, but really the main arc follows Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, a successful TV actor who is gone on a bit of hard times recently. And he, along with his stunt double, Clint Booth, played by Brad Pitt, are trying to find work. And really, that is the main story arc of the movie. Of course, there is Sharon Tate in there, played by Margot Robbie, but, you know, her story really isn't the focus, but we'll get into that when we get into that. But before we get started, I'd just like to remind you guys that if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, comment what you thought about this movie in the comment section below, and if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click the big red subscribe button down below and click the bell to allow notifications so that when a new video comes out, you will be the first to know. With that in mind, let's talk about, quite frankly, one of my favorite movies of the year so far. I think making a top 10 list of 2019, like right now, is a little premature. We've still got months of movies ahead of us, and Lord knows I'm looking forward to at least a few of them. However, I walked out of this movie with the biggest smile on my face. My buddy was calling this movie a masterpiece, and I don't think I would go so far as to say this movie is a masterpiece per se, but this movie was really good though. Firstly, let's just talk about all of the acting because it was just solid all around. I mean, you got Leonardo and Brad Pitt, and they just have excellent chemistry together. They're on screen for the majority of this almost 3-hour movie, and if it were literally anyone else, it would have gotten boring real quick. But it just wasn't. They just gelled so well together. This is the best Brad Pitt has been for years, and Leo is standing around here like, hey, I've always been this good. Also, Margot Robbie is really good as Sharon Tate. Like I said in the intro, you really don't see a ton of her, and I think that's going to cause a lot of problems with some people, but really, I didn't mind it all that much. When she was on screen, she was legitimately very good, as Margot Robbie tends to be. Also, as I mentioned earlier, the supporting cast in this movie is terrific. I mean, just go down the line on the cast list on IMDb, and you name it, they are very good. Probably the standout is the guy that played Bruce Lee. I can't remember his name right now, but I'll put his name in the lower third in post because he was excellent. Without spoiling anything, Bruce Lee really only has one scene in this movie, and it is one of the very best. His hands are registered as lethal weapons. Don't forget that. Also, the movie's production design and soundtrack are on point. There's just something about Quentin Tarantino and his love of old music that I just love. I will never get tired of hearing Hush by Deep Purple. Like, it's never gonna happen. And I really hate to use the old cliche, but the production design in this movie was so good, I felt like I was traveling back in time. Like, I don't know what they did to make everything look so authentic, but kudos to the production designer because he, she, or they did an excellent job. If I had to have one complaint about this movie, is some of the pacing. This movie's 2 hours and 45 minutes long, and you really feel every second of it. But when I think about it, I can't really think of a frame that I would cut out. Everything kind of flows well. It's just some of the dialogue scenes tend to get tedious, but then again, that's in every Tarantino movie. So at the end of the day, the pacing is kind of a nitpick. But unlike most movies that I see, I can see a lot of people not liking this movie for one reason or another. And that's completely understandable. Quentin Tarantino has a very unique style, to say the least, and it does not please everyone. If you like his style, you're gonna like this movie. If you hate his style, you're gonna hate this movie. Simply put, if this is your first exposure to Quentin Tarantino, you're either gonna love him or you're gonna hate him. However, I love his style and I loved this movie. It's getting an amazing grade. It's right up there with Endgame, Crawl, and a couple other movies that are on my short list for the best of the year. Again, with several months ahead of us, but if I were to make my top 10 best list right now, this movie would be in the top 3. The acting was solid across the board, the production design was beautiful, the soundtrack was awesome. For an almost 3-hour movie, I was interested in about 99% of it. Like I said, the pacing is a bit slow, but then again, that's just a nitpick. I just wish they made more movies like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I just wish it with all my heart. But that's all for me, guys. Thank you so much as always for watching. My name is Ryan Cam. I'll see you in the next one.